Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. So, I believe there's been a challenge set forth before all of you guys that are on this channel. And that challenge is to awaken. And what that means is to become the overcomer, just as Christ has done. Christ was the morning star who overcame. Lucifer, morning star, was also a morning star who did not overcome. Christ and Lucifer are very, very similar. They are both depicted or described as lions. But one of the lions fights to protect, the other lion fights to destroy. So what I'm going to set before you is the challenge that you have to overcome. We live in a world that is dominated, led by the either-or mentality. This is the tree of knowledge. And this is your ego. Your ego is the very, very smallest part of your mind. It is less than 1% of 1% of your totality, of your higher intelligence. So in order to let go of this, you have to understand what it is. And I'm going to explain it right now. It's the very cage that keeps you imprisoned. So the either-or mentality is a very, very limited way of processing information. So imagine in front of your eyes, because it acts like a filter, everything that comes in your ears, in your eyes, and in your feelings, your emotions, gets processed through either A or B, either A or B. It's literally a rectangle. Okay, so imagine there's a rectangle in front of you about 7 inches wide and about 3 or 4 inches high. Okay, maybe even a little bit bigger than that if you want. Now, right down the middle, I want you to draw a line. Now you have 2 squares. So essentially what you've done is you have drawn a line down a rectangle, divide it in half, and now you have 2 equal squares. So the left will be A, the right will be B. On an unconscious level, you have been trained, conditioned, another word for saying it is brainwashed into being stuck into the tree of either-or knowledge. This is the tree of knowledge that the Bible's talking about. It is extremely limited, down to the finite of less than 1% of 1%. So what we have to do is we have to get rid of this, because it keeps you from connecting to the knowledge, the information, and the energetic power that is inside of you. It keeps you from connecting with you. So here's how it works. Anytime someone says something to you, you will judge it and go, it's either A or it's B. And it literally causes judgment because it's either good or bad. So everything coming through this filter is it's either A or B. There's no other possibility. That's how this filter works, and it causes you to unconsciously believe and perceive and look at the world as if, well, this is all there is. And that's why you don't want to get stuck in the logical brain. And this is what narcissists are. Narcissists are stuck in their logical brain. They have closed off to the emotional right brain. The right brain is the emotional processor, the emotional, creative, spiritual brain. At some point in time, they got hurt emotionally, and they're like, screw this, I don't like this, I don't want to deal with it, so they closed the door to the right brain, which you can do, by the way, and it is what narcissists do to you when they use all their techniques, such as gaslighting, lying to you, playing games, all the stuff that they do, love bombing, then they devalue you. All this stuff is designed to hurt you emotionally so bad to where you can't take it anymore, and you slam that door closed. And now you've disconnected from your greater awareness, because your right brain is the expanded brain. It's the brain that has peripheral vision, peripheral auditory, and kinesthetic auditory peripherally all the way around you. This is how you can sense intuitively. There's something about this person, something about the tone in his voice, something about his eyes, the look, the way they move. All of a sudden you are blind. You are deaf, dumb, and blind. You can't hear, you can't see, and you literally can't think. Once a narcissist has you here, now they can manipulate the crap out of you because you're oblivious. It's like you disconnected from your radar system, because your body is your radar system. Your five senses is your radar system. Your right brain is the five senses processor. It connects to every nerve in your entire body. So your body becomes the radar system, sends the information up to the right brain, and the right brain processes it. Now it's aware consciously of what's going on. It puts the pieces of the puzzle together so you can see the bigger picture. This is a narcissist's worst nightmare. They don't want you to see what's going on, because then they can't manipulate you. And your emotional system is your power. Your emotional system is equivalent to gasoline or fuel to that Ferrari, to that powerful Mustang. Without that fuel, you have no power. The car won't move, and neither will you. This is why a narcissist has to kill your spirit. And that's what you feel like after you've dealt with narcissist for a while. You feel dead inside. You disconnected from your emotions, and that's why all of a sudden the world, it seems like everything is black and white, because the left brain is the either or, black or white processor. The right brain is about options and possibilities. How many options? How many possibilities? All the grains of more than all the grains of sand on the earth. That's how many possibilities. More than all the stars in the known universe. Trillions of trillions of options and possibilities. The right brain is the option and possibility brain. That's why it is the much more powerful brain. The left brain is the limited mind. Now, I don't believe God said don't ever use it, but don't close the door. You need to be able to look at the details, then bring them over to the right brain, because details are like pieces of the puzzle. They put the pieces together, and now you see the bigger picture. Without, I could give you all the pieces of the puzzle, but if you can't put them together, what's the use? So here's the left brain. All it does is it memorizes. It reads information, it listens to a teacher, it takes the information in, the words, and it memorizes things. That's all it does. The right brain does something called amalgamation. It takes information, it combines it with other information, it comes up with new ideas and new thoughts. This is what is literally called thinking. The left brain is just memorizing things and then regurgitating them, just saying, well, Dr. So-and-so said this, well, in this book it said that, and Dr. So-and-so said, it's like you don't even understand the information. Now, I'm going to approach this from my communication course between men and women, what I call male communication and female communication, left brain and right brain. And then we're going to take this one understanding and we're going to bring it over to the teachings of Jesus. Okay, so the left brain processor is a very simple processor. It is the external processor, meaning it goes out. So it's about the outside world, outside of your body. The right brain is the internal processor, which goes inside your body and connects to all your nerves and et cetera, your feelings, your emotions, sounds, taste, flavors, and sight. So the right brain will take pieces of information, knowledge, understanding, and strategies, and it starts connecting these together to have a greater understanding of what's going on. So these are two different processors, okay? So the left brain is very much similar, almost exactly like the old IBM computer. It's the external linear processor, meaning it goes in a line. This is very important. It goes from point A to point B, just like a football game. This is why men's sports are, 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, 10, 50, first base, second, third. It's always going from 0 to 1 to 2. It goes in a line. Literally, there are lines everywhere in men's sports. I really should just say sports in general. So, do you remember the old Linux computer processor? Well, your left brain is very much like that processor. It goes in a line, okay? It's very limited. It's very fast, but if you do too many things, it'll overload it and it will shut down. So this is the brain that men call the logical brain. Well, the right brain is also a logical brain. It's called a non-linear, meaning it doesn't go in a line, processor. This is called literally non-linear logic. If you go through math far enough, you'll come into what's called non-linear math. Same thing in physics. It's called non-linear science or non-linear physics. All it means is the right brain processes information in a circle, okay? The processor literally goes round and round in a circle and it gathers information as it goes around, okay? Now, to men, that's not logical. No, it's very logical. You just don't know how to do it. Now, here's all I'm going to say about this, and I'm going to move on to the next step. Each brain gives a different meaning to the same word, okay? So, when you say romance to a woman, it gets processed through the right brain. When you say romance to a man, it gets processed through the left brain. She's hearing A and he's hearing B because these processors give two completely radically different meanings to the same words that you hear and say. It's kind of the opposite of learning a new language because hello in Spanish is hola. So they're two different pronounced words, but they have the same meaning. When it comes to communication between men and women, the left and right brain, it's the other way around. You say the same word, but it gives it two different meanings. Now, this is the part that every woman who's been in a relationship more than 3 days has experienced. When a woman is in her right brain, that's a key phrase, when she is in her right brain, she's processing information through her right brain. So she will say AAA out of her right brain. Let's say she says a paragraph of words out of her right brain, obviously from her mouth, but she's processing it through her right brain. He will unconsciously bring those same words, every word exactly, and he will bring it through his left brain and it gets filtered and processed through the logical linear processor. So the left brain processes through logic, so all the words get filtered through logic. It becomes a logical experience. Whereas the right brain processes and filters words through the 5 senses: see, hear, feel, and smell. See, hear, feel, smell, and taste. And because of this, these two different processors, the logic linear going in a line versus the 5 senses circular processor, give completely two different meanings to the same words, to the same thing that is being spoken. So she's saying A out of her right brain, he brings the same words over to his left brain, filters it through the left brain processor, and it changes the meaning to every word, and now he is hearing the complete opposite, B. And this is kind of tricky because they're both hearing the same words. They both speak English, or whatever language you speak, but you are processing them in two different parts of your brain and it changes the meaning. And this is where the nightmare begins between men and women. She says A, he's hearing B, and okay, I'm going to give you a real life example. So I was standing in the grocery store line behind this young couple. I think they were about 36 or so. I think at the time I was about 32. And she's passionately talking about A. You know, she's talking. He's nodding. Now I can tell he's in his linear brain because he's from his forehead. When you're in your left brain, it puts you in your forehead and it makes you kind of sound nasally, okay? His pupils were small. His jaw was tight. When you're in your left brain, it tightens things up. When you're in the right brain, the peripheral system, it relaxes your muscles and it allows blood to flow into underneath your skin and into your lips, etc., and it softens everything. and your movements become softer and more relaxed and more natural. So he's rigid and stiff, she's soft, warm. Even your words become more elongated, warm, smooth, and soft versus warm, smooth, soft, like digital. Okay, there's a digital way of talking and a relaxed way of talking. So I'm looking at this couple going, oh shit, she's saying A, but he's hearing B. I boldly took a step and I almost tapped him on the shoulder. I thought, they're going to think I'm a nut. So I kind of stood back, feeling helpless. I thought, no, don't get him in the middle of this. So he's happy, she's happy, they're buying groceries, and I'm thinking, later on tonight, she's going to get pissed off. She's like, I thought we just talked about this. I said this and blah, blah, blah. He goes, yeah, you said this and this means this. She's like, no, this doesn't mean that. It means A. He's like, no, when you say this, this means that. Ladies, have you had this conversation before? Like a million times? So here's the deal. He's processing everything through either or mentality. It's either A or it's B, A or B. Everything, every word, every phrase, every sentence, every paragraph goes A, B, A, B. And she's not doing that. She's putting the pieces together into a bigger picture where he was dividing. The left brain divides the pieces of the puzzle and separates everything. That's what the left brain does. Now, it's really good for science when you want to create a false, fake environment. Because when you look under a microscope, you have to use perfect water, pure water that's 99 or 96.6% or 96.9% pure, which means you've gotten rid of reality. It's literally getting rid of almost 100% of reality. You're left with just a finite, this molecule with that molecule, or this vitamin with this, bacteria. Let's see how they interact, because otherwise you wouldn't know how they interact if all this other stuff is mixed in there. So you want to make it a pure environment, because then you can go, oh, I see how vitamin C interacts with this bacteria. It does this or does that, and blah, blah, blah. So now it's a clean environment. In reality, that's not the way it works. Because in reality, you've got dirt, you've got bacteria, you've got viruses, you've got temperature change, you've got this, you've got that. It's not a controlled environment. The left brain is about the controlled environment. Very left brain people are very controlling. Now look at this image on the left and go down to almost the bottom, just above the word science. What does it say? It says control. So life at the grocery store, socializing with your wife, at home with your children, is a right brain function, but most men are stuck in their left brain. So they try to create controlled environments. These are the people that want to control everything, and everything's black or white, either or mentality, that rectangle with the line down the middle, A or B, two different squares. But the right brain is the relationship brain. It's the emotional, creative, spiritual brain. It's also known as the social brain and the relationship brain. It's also the love brain. It's the brain that you should be in when you're in a relationship, when you're with your wife or your children. Now, because of money, modern technology, and now especially computers, men have got stuck in their left brain because they don't need to use their five senses anymore, whereas they used to have to use it to just survive. They had to be able to tune into their cows or their farm animals, like, are they sick? Are they? Because with animals, they're not going to be able to tell you. You're going to have to be tuned into your five senses. In order to hunt, you got to be tuned into your five senses. You got to expand that peripheral vision, that peripheral auditory. So men that tend to hunt a lot, tend to be out in nature a lot, they tend to be very right brain. They tend to be what women call very grounded or down to earth. In fact, a lot of times the reason why men will go hunting or fishing is because they're getting out in nature, and nature will allow you to open up to your right brain again. And this allows men and women to connect a lot better. If you go back more than 100 years, the cowboy days, the American Indian days, go all the way back to the caveman era, these are the eras when men had to be in the wild. They had to be in the wilderness. They had to deal with crops and cows and farms and horses, and the majority of men had to deal with this. So most men, most of the time, it's just, if you go back to caveman days, they were very right brain. They could tune into their dogs, their wives. They could know exactly how they feel. problem with the modern male is they don't need to use that brain to survive, to put food on the table or roof over their head anymore. They just need money. They need computers. They need taxes, dollar bills, rules on the road to drive a car. All that is the left brain. Rules, structure, organization. The left brain's very good for business, making money, and science. But it's not good for daily life, and it's not good for dealing with the opposite sex, women. Now let's talk about Jesus. So let's go back to what I said about the left brain processes information through the linear logical processor. Processes information through logic, rules, structure, and organization. So it sees everything as either or, right or wrong, good or bad. Okay? This is why it's the rule-oriented brain. It makes up rules. It looks at everything like, okay, well, what's the rules? Well, sometimes there are no rules. There's just, as Jesus says, love is the fulfillment of all the commandments. It's not about rules. If you look at things through love, you'll do the right thing. You'll love your neighbor. You won't hurt your neighbor. You won't take advantage of your neighbor. But if you look at everything through rules, then you will. Because you're like, well, the rule says I can do this, knowing that you're destroying someone's life. So remember that those two boxes right in front of your brain that filters things? Take that box away, that rectangle, those two boxes, take it away and throw it off to the side. This is how you open up to the right brain. Now you see everything around you. Now you see all the options and all the possibilities. See, the either-or mentality structures everything down to two possibilities. And then from there, you can only choose one. Because everything's right or wrong, good or bad. From that perspective, you literally only have one perspective. You only have one choice. And that's not a choice. The word choice implies multiple. So here's my point. When you listen to the teachings of Jesus, if you're reading it through the logical processor, you're going to hear B. If you read it through the right brain, the nonlinear, circular, expansive processor, you're going to hear B. You're literally going to hear, see, and understand two completely, radically different things. So there's two kinds of Christians. There's ones that truly believe it's about right or wrong. It's about rules. Because again, the left brain is about rules, structure, and organization. And therefore, it literally forms everything in terms of either or, right or wrong. This is good, this is bad. Here's the rule, here's the structure, and here's how we organize it. That's what the left brain does. It filters everything through that. And therefore, if you're in that brain, you truly believe that's what's being taught, even when it's not. Then there's the other Christians that are heart-based, heart-centered Christians. These are the people that are open-minded. Now right there, the closed-minded left brain people, because the left brain is the closed mind, the right brain is the open mind. The closed-minded people will literally freak out and be like, what do you mean open-minded? No, you got to close your mind, close your brain, close your eyes, and follow the rules and do as you're told. So here's the deal. Jesus literally said love is the fulfillment of all the commandments. Now, what did he say? Did he say rules? No, he said love. Because mankind turned away from God and hid in the left brain, the logical brain, the tree of knowledge, which is the left brain. Like it says in Adam and Eve, or the book of Genesis, it said after they ate of the fruit, it says, and they hid. God walked in the cool of the morning, the cool of the garden, etc., etc., and it said, and they hid. So this is right after they ate of the fruit, and then the serpent shamed them. So shame closes you off from your right brain and makes you hide in your logical left brain. This is why it mentioned in Genesis 2, the very last verse, I think it's 25 in chapter 2, it said they were naked and they were not ashamed. Now, being naked means open to your emotions, open to your right brain, to being emotionally open and vulnerable, thus meaning naked. And I remember when I was reading it a long time ago, I thought, well, why did it even say that they're naked and they were not ashamed? If they were not ashamed, why even mention it? Well, because in the next chapter, chapter 3, they eat of the fruit, and the serpent comes along and says, hey, you're naked, and you got to cover up with loincloth because that's bad. And then it comes into the very next, a couple verses later, God walks in the cool of the garden, etc., and it says, and they hid. So who hid? Did God hide from you? No, you hid from God because you were shamed by someone or something. Meaning you hid behind your logic, okay? When you hide behind your logic, well, it protects you from getting hurt emotionally, but it closes you off from your awareness and receiving. The right brain is the receiving brain, the left brain is the closed push male energy brain. If you're not open to receive, you can't hear God. You can't even be aware of God or spirit. So in order to get back into chapter 2, where Adam and Eve were in the garden with God, you have to open back up. And this is where you begin to create. There was a void, there was nothingness. And thus God said, let there be light, and there was light. This is how you do it. This is what we now call prayer or manifestation. You are a creator. It's already there. So now, if you look at Jesus, Jesus literally said, look within. What brain is the within brain? The right brain, the female brain. The right brain is the internal brain. This is why Jesus says the Lord resides within, which means it's an internal word, within, meaning inside. Jesus then said, your body is the temple of the Lord. Your body is what? The temple of the Lord. And where did Jesus say the Lord resides? Within the temple. That's why Jesus says, look within. That's how you connect with God. Now remember, the way I can tell someone's in their left brain is their pupils will be small, they'll be more narrow, their face gets tight, their voice gets a little bit more mechanical, their body tightens up, their muscles tighten up. But when you're in your right brain, your pupils dilate and they get large. I'm looking at a candle right now with an image of Jesus on it. His face is soft, smooth, round, relaxed. His pupils are dilated, large, and open. Jesus also says to look within. He also then says the Lord resides within, inside, going within, inward, the temple. And then he says the temple is within the body, or the body is the temple. So let me, from that education right there, where do you think Jesus was at? Yeah, in a right brain. So Jesus was communicating from the right brain. When I went through my awakening and I opened wide open, all of a sudden everything Jesus taught made sense. I'm like, man, this makes sense. You know why? Because I was adding the pieces, the verses together. The left brain will divide the verses. You will hear men argue, well, in Revelation chapter 3 verse 33 it says blah 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 blah, and this other guy will go back, well yeah, but in the book of Isaiah chapter 3 verse 44 it says blah 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 blah, and they will argue back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, which is a very male thing. They don't let the pieces connect. They divide and separate, and this is what causes argument. You will never understand the Bible as long as you're dividing it. You have to connect every verse from Genesis 1:1 all the way to Revelation, I don't know what the last chapter is, okay, to the very last verse. You start doing that, you're going to see a bigger picture. The Bible literally paints the word love. If the Bible is confusing to you, it's because you were taught to divide things, to separate things. You're not using your right brain. One of the things that I did is I made a practice of every morning reading the Bible for 15 minutes. I'd start at Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, and then every morning I'd read a little bit more, maybe it was 30 minutes every single day until I read the whole Bible, and then I did it again, and then I did it again, and then I did it again. So what's happening is I did this 13 times. This allows my brain to begin to see the picture over and over and see the pieces more and more, so it can begin to connect the pieces and put them together. So it's exactly like when a woman says A out of her right brain, a man takes it over to his left brain and processes it through his logical processor. It changes the meaning to everything that was said. He truly believes that it's about B, and she's saying, no, I'm telling you, I didn't say that, I'm saying A, and he will argue to death even though he's completely wrong. Again, the left brain is like you're literally putting your eyes on a microscope and you're looking at this finite piece of this little tiny molecule. You can't read the Bible that way because you won't see it. You have to connect the pieces together to build up to the larger picture, exactly like a puzzle. So when I opened up and I began to read the Bible from my right brain, everything made sense. It was really simple. It's like, oh, this is so obvious. It's like every piece connected. It's like 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 1 = 3, 3 + 1 = 4. It was really simple. It was really obvious. So now when I watch like The Chosen or any kind of a video or movie about Jesus when he's trying to explain something to the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and they're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So what's the rules? And he's like, it's like he says, you're not even understanding me. I wish I could think of an actual verse where Jesus says something like, how is it that I explained this parable, this story to you, and yet you still don't understand? Parables and stories are understood through the right brain, because those are right brain teachings. Metaphors, stories, and examples, parables, etc. So a right brain person is going to hear A, which by the way, which is Jesus is doing. He's doing the internal communication language. He literally uses internal words. Internal words is any word that goes inward. The word inward, inside, within, etc., or enter, etc., etc. These are all internal words. These are right brain words because the right brain is the internal processor. The left brain is the external processor. Now this doesn't just apply to men, because I've actually met quite a few women who can be very left brain and tend to be stuck there, okay? People who do a lot of heavy drugs, they're very stuck in their left brain. If you're drinking caffeine, by the way, caffeine, cigarettes, energy drinks, ginseng, they all shove you into the left brain. You're using the wrong processor if you want to understand the teachings. So there's two kinds of Christians. There's the logical Christians who believe everything is about right or wrong, black or white, it's all about rules. And then there's the right brain Christian who believes it's about love, it's about understanding, it's about compassion. Hey, wait a minute. Who used to say stuff like that? Oh yeah, Jesus Christ. So if you're a left brain person, male or female, and you're stuck there, I teach a course called the Internal Awareness course, the Internal Awareness and Emotionally Grounding course, okay? It's Internal Awareness and Emotional Grounding. This brings you back inside your own spirit. These techniques will open you up to your own spirit. They will tune you in. They will make you more spiritual. They will tune you in to the spirit. They will begin to allow you to have a much greater spiritual experience as you go through life. Do you want to know what repentance means? Do you want to know what it means to come out of sin? Let go of the logic. Stop hiding behind your logic. Let go of the either or mentality, the right or wrong mentality. Turning everything into rules. Somebody must be right, box A. Box B, somebody must be wrong. That's absolutely not true. Everybody can be right. See, right now an either or person is finiting everything to either or. That's not possible. Somebody has to be wrong. No, that is not true. I'll give you an example. My ex-girlfriend in my 20s used to see everything through this either or mentality. It's right or wrong. And this is a narcissist view of the world. It's either you or me. It's kill or be killed. This is your reptilian brain at its finest. This is literally the way a lizard thinks. There's a bug in front of me. I'm here, you're on the other side of the bug, so I must kill you in order to get this bug to survive. This is the reptilian brain's mentality. The problem is very narrow vision, the pupils are small, it's looking very narrow visioned, like it has blinders on both sides like a racehorse. If it could just take the blinders off, allow its pupils to dilate open and expand and pull apart slightly to see the bigger picture, and then turn its head left and right, it would see that there's insects and food all around. There's more than just one. In fact, there's hundreds and thousands of different forms of food all around you. So my ex-girlfriend came over. Oh, and by the way, to be able to lower the blinders, to dilate the pupils, you got to open up to the right brain. Now you can see the possibilities, all the food, all the options, all the possibilities. This is what's called an abundance mentality. The right brain, the left brain, or the reptilian brain is the very narrow. The reptilian brain is literally the survival brain. It does not and cannot see abundance, even if it's 1 inch to the right of it. It can't even see it. So my ex-girlfriend would come over. I'd be in a really good mood. She'd knock on the door. I'd open the door, and she had this big smile, and she'd look at me, and then she would get really upset. She would look down. And I kind of noticed this after a while, and I also noticed that she'd be really mean to me. She'd be happy and smiling to angry and pissy, and she'd start to hurt me, play mind games, do all this shit. And here's the other thing I noticed. When I finally got mad, when I finally yelled and said, "Why do you always do this? Why do you always come over here and piss me off? I was in a good mood, blah, blah, blah." And here's what she said. She goes, "I don't know." I'm like, and I remember because I had been studying this in NLP, and I go, "Oh, that's right. Some people have an either-or mentality." And I looked at her, I go, "Sweetie," I go, do you believe that if I'm happy, that means you can't be happy?" And she goes, "I don't know." I go, No. I go, "Baby, it's okay. I promise I won't get mad." So she looks at me, she goes, "Well, it's true. If you're happy, that means I can't be happy. You got to understand, box A, I'm happy, which means she must be in box B, which is the opposite of A, which means she must be unhappy." It is a processor that's not even real. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth in that, but this is called what we in NLP or linguistics we call a complex equivalent. It literally says this means that. If this is A, then this means B. It is not true. It is a limited illusion. So I remember, I don't know if I said this part in that, when she would piss me off and I would flip. I remember one day I like, "Why do you?" And I was yelling really loud. She started to smile, and I'm looking at her like what is, I was like, what is wrong with her? This person is sick. And I even said to her, I go, "You piss me off because that makes you feel good about yourself." I go, "What?" And I was like, "What is wrong with you?" So the next time she came over, I was already thinking like maybe she's this either or mentality. And when she came over, I was very conscious and I was paying attention. And sure enough, she goes, "Well, if you're happy, I'm in box A. That means I'm in box B. I can't be happy." She literally said, "If you're happy, that means I can't be happy." And I said, "Sweetie, that's not true." She goes, "What?" She looks up at me with a little bit of glimmer of hope in her eye. And she goes, "What?" I go, "Baby, you can be happy and I can be happy." The left brain uses minus signs. If you go to Algebra 1 and your Algebra 1, not Algebra 2, but in your first chapter, it gives you different words. 1 and 1 is 2. So the word is means equal. The word and is plus. So now you get times. So like 3 and 3 equals 6. But 3 times 3 equals 9. If you don't know the definition of these words and meanings, it's not going to make sense. So here's all I'm saying. The right brain uses addition language, plus, and, so the word and is equivalent to plus. The left brain uses negation words such as but, not, can't, won't, shan't. Okay? Because in order to limit everything down to 2 possibilities, you have to negate everything. You have to literally minus or negate and get rid of everything. It's either or. It's either A or it's B. Again, it's like that 2 little pieces of glass. I forget what those are called. You put the little droplet of water, you put whatever in it. So you put a pure environment, which means you negated everything else. You got rid of everything else. That's not reality. It's really good for numbers, math, science, taxes, and lab tests. The right brain uses words like and, both, plus, and more. These are positive words. These are plus signs, okay? And the word is equals. 1 plus 1 is this. And that means you're adding things together. You're connecting things. You can be happy and I can be happy. 1 plus 1 equals 2. So you'll notice that right brain people will use the word and, both, plus, etc., a lot because they're adding things together. Like, okay, well, you can be rich and I can be rich. She can be happy and you can be happy. I can be happy and he can be happy. So now everyone can prosper, everyone can live abundantly, and everyone can enjoy life and be happy. Nobody has to be pushed down and hurt emotionally in order for the other person to feel good about themselves. You might be noticing, hey, wait a minute, that's where the narcissist was. Yeah. The narcissist will always knock you down because they truly believe it's either or. It's either you're rich or I'm rich. We can't both, and they'll say that. I've literally heard people that think in either or terms. Well, we can't both be happy. We can't both be rich. Yes, you can. In fact, the people that move ahead in life, they tend to be surrounded by other people that are very successful and very wealthy. And they help each other out. I met a guy that was a very successful entrepreneur. He grew up in the poor part of San Francisco. He had a bunch of he was Asian, he was Chinese technically, and all of his friends grew up on the same street. And to this day, they still keep in touch. They live in the general area and they work together. They have completely radically different businesses. He goes, you know, Mike, how it started? And I'm like, and you guys are? He goes, yeah. He goes, we are all filthy. Like this guy was worth $100 million. He goes, my friends are richer than me. I'm like, well, how did that work out? He goes, well, it started when we were kids. We would help each other get because we were into motorcycles at first. I'm like, okay, so we would help each other get a used part. Hey, I know someone who has a part. Let me get it for you. Let me do this for you. Let me make a phone call for you. And we did this for each other. So next thing you know, we've all got these really nice motorcycles. We're picking up on the girls. We're helping each other get the girl. We're working together. And now we have more for all of us. Whereas you got other people that will I'm not going to help this guy. I actually have that part he needs, but I'm not going to give it to him because I want him to be less than me. That's a narcissist way of thinking. They tear everyone down. They block everyone around them. And now everyone around them poor and is unsuccessful. And they can't figure out why they can't get ahead in life. The typical story for most, especially covert narcissists, is by the time they turn 50, 55 years old, their whole life is a shambles. It's a wreck. They're miserable and life sucks for them. It's because they destroyed everyone around them. Because they're in the minus brain, they have to minus everything. In order for me to be rich, I got to make sure you're not. So if you start to make more, if you're making less money than them, they're totally okay with that. But the minute you start getting close, they have to start knocking you down. So then he said, as we were getting into high school, we started getting into cars and we did the same thing, I didn't have this one tool. I needed to pull this bearing off, but my buddy had the bearing puller. So I went over there. He let me borrow his tool, and he came over and he showed me how to use it. He goes, "We've always been like that." And then we started like little jobs. Like one guy started selling car parts, or he started selling T-shirts. And then we said, "Well, how did you do that?" "Well, here's how I did it." And then I would start selling T-shirts, but a different type. And the guy who was making money taught me how to do it, and we both started making more money. And then what happened? We realized we had enough money to pull together to build a bigger business together, blah, 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 blah. He goes, and that's how we all did it. We all helped each other get ahead in life. So now, here we are, high school kids, we're like seniors, and we got I forget what series, like BMW 600 series or 6 series, and we're in freaking high school, and we paid for it all by ourselves. Now, I don't mean one BMW. They each had their own BMW. A brand new 6 Series BMW. And back then, that was a pretty expensive car. And then they went into adulthood and they started moving into entrepreneurship, starting corporations and businesses. And they would help each other. They would coach each other. They would teach each other. They would build each other up. And now they are all financially wealthy and well off. This is how you get ahead in life. So yes, we all can be rich, because trust me, all those narcissists out there, they're going to make sure that everyone around them is poor and unsuccessful, including themselves. You'll notice that happy and abundant people, they use words like and, both, plus, more, of course, absolutely, sure. I want you to stop this and write those words down. Now, I want you to write this mantra down. It's a mantra I created more than 20 years ago. I started realizing whenever I was doing well in life, I was in my right brain. And this will pull you, and those words I gave you, those will pull you into your right brain, and then unconsciously, you'll be processing and thinking in terms of addition and plus. Alright, so write this down. And both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. Now the first word and would be equivalent to the number 1. The ampersand and symbol is equivalent to the plus sign. And then you do it again, plus and more. So this is saying 1 plus 1, 1 plus 1. You are adding things together. And then the words yes, yes, yes also put you into the right brain and get you moving forward. Whereas the left brain, no, not, can't, won't, shan't. And you get stuck in that mentality and now you literally feel stuck. And the way you shift out of that is say and in both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. And in both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. You also take a deep breath after about 3, 4, 5 times that you do it, and then you go and in both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. And if you can do it while you're walking, even if it's in your living room, going back and forth or lifting your legs up and moving your arms, you want to go for a walk and in both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. You can say it quiet, you can say it under your breath, but if you can get in your car and go for a drive and say and in both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. You say it over and over. You do this for 7 minutes, 10 minutes, I promise you, you are going to be in a much better state to get things done. And it shifts you into the open mind, which allows you to see more of the possibilities. And this is how you get unstuck. This is how you find your freedom. This is how you open the door to God again. Now look at the left side again. Control. Look at the right side, right in the middle in green. It says freedom. The right brain is the open brain. Literally, the left brain processes information like a microscope in a small, tight, locked-in environment. It is literally a closed environment. The right brain is the open system. It's the open door to God and Spirit. Do that mantra 3, 4, 5 times a day for 5, maybe 7 minutes. Even if you have to just say it inside your mouth or in your head. I'm going to give you some more words. We're going to start out with a mantra. So and in both, plus and more, yes, yes, yes. Make sure you write that down. Then begin to add words like sure, absolutely, of course, I can, certainly. Write those words down. Write down the word also. These are all addition words that begin to allow your brain to see how the pieces fit together. Write down you and me. We can. I am. You and I can do this. Write down the word can. I will. I am. This is. I can. You can. We can. Write down the word together. Write down the word let's. All you have to do is write those words down from the very beginning when it said start writing these words down. Write those words down on a piece of paper and begin using them in your sentences. You could even just start saying let's, can, will, I am, let's do that. You can talk to yourself. But if you can begin to start adding those words into your sentences, all of a sudden, the people around you start shifting over to the right brain. Because what happens is if you're in your right brain, you're saying and, both, plus, more, yes, I can, I will, let's do it, certainly, of course, sure. In order to understand that, unconsciously, they will slowly shift over into the right brain. And now you're creating a team of people that are moving forward thinking in terms of addition and adding things together versus separating, minusing, and dividing. Number one, this will put you unconsciously in this positive way of thinking. So all of a sudden you'll start using positive languaging without even trying to do it. If you do it long enough, it shifts you over. Number two, this is what we call charisma. This is why some people have charisma and people just want to be around them. Because it's happy, it's fun, it's enjoyable. Do you want to know why narcissists divide and conquer? Because they're using the divide brain, the either or mentality. Hey, God bless you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment. And if you want, you can go ahead and make a donation. There's a PayPal link right there in the description box. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.